This is the story of a wealthy businessman, one of the richest in his city. He owned several businesses, factories, and had everything anyone could wish for. He was prosperous in every way. One evening, after visiting his factory, he returned home. When he entered, he saw that his family was busy with prayer and the evening arti. The businessman, however, had always kept a distance from God. He was an atheist and didn't believe in religious rituals, so he quietly walked to his room and started checking his reports. He was thinking about what had gone right and what had gone wrong that day. He called his servant and asked, "Bring me a cup of coffee." The servant went to prepare the coffee, but suddenly the businessman started feeling a pain and uneasiness in his chest. He quickly called the servant and said, "Call the doctors immediately. Coffee can wait." The top doctors from the city's best hospital arrived and conducted several tests. After examining him, they found that he was physically fine, but the businessman still felt something was off. He told the doctors, "I still feel uneasy." The doctors reassured him, "You are perfectly fine. It might be stress causing this discomfort. If you can't sleep, you can take sleeping pills. Rest for today. You seem to be worried about something." The servant brought food and medicine, and the businessman took the medicine and went to bed. But even then, sleep didn't come. He tossed and turned in bed, took another sleeping pill, but still, sleep eluded him. It was already 3 a.m., and the silence of the night was overwhelming. He thought, maybe it's the suffocation of being indoors. I need some fresh air. So, he left his grand mansion and walked in the streets of the colony. He walked and walked, lost in his thoughts about his family, business, and everything else in his life. He didn't realize how far he had walked. Finally, he sat down on a raised platform by the side of the road, took off his slippers, and relaxed. As he sat there, memories of his childhood came rushing back. Those days of struggle, when he had nothing. He was lost in deep thought, when suddenly, a dog came running and grabbed one of his slippers. The businessman saw this and immediately ran after the dog to retrieve his slipper. The dog ran into a nearby slum, and the businessman followed. He called out to the dog, and the frightened animal dropped the slipper and ran away. The businessman picked it up and was about to return home when he suddenly remembered, "I've been out for too long. I need to go back home." Just then, he heard crying. He looked around and saw that the sound was coming from a nearby shack. It was around 4 a.m. He thought for a moment, then decided, "I should go and see what's going on." He went to the shack and peeked inside. He saw a woman crying and banging her head against the wall. The businessman gathered his courage and knocked on the door. The woman opened it, and through her tears, she said, "Sir, I have a 7-year-old daughter who is lying on the ground. She's very sick. The doctors say she needs surgery, but I can't afford it. No one is willing to help me." The businessman, not knowing what else to say, replied, "Crying won't help. You need to ask for help." The woman said, "Sir, I clean houses for a living. No one is helping me. A holy man passed by yesterday and told me that if I cry until 4 a.m., a miracle would happen. So I'm crying, hoping God will hear me." Hearing this, the businessman's heart softened. He immediately called an ambulance, contacted the doctors, and said, "The surgery for this child must be done. Whatever the cost, I'll cover it. You just make sure she's okay." He then told the woman, "You start working for me from tomorrow. I have many factories, and you can work wherever you like. He also offered her a servant's quarters to stay in. The businessman felt a sense of peace as he helped the woman, but in his heart, he had one question. I've always stayed away from God, and yet, did God send me to help this woman? He thought, if there really is a higher power, why do we fight over religion and caste? I didn't ask the woman her caste, and she didn't ask mine. God has made me the instrument to help her. The businessman came to a realization that day. Life is about the actions we take. If you do the right thing, the right results will follow. But more than just doing the right thing, it's important to help others. True happiness and peace come from helping others, not just focusing on your own work. From that day, the businessman understood that God created the religion of humanity, not religion or caste. If we help others, help will come to us from above. It's more important to spread smiles than knowledge. And if you truly help others from the heart, believe me, a miracle will happen. Friends, I hope you liked the story. Please let us know what you learned from this story by commenting below